turn off my fan. Hello, hello, hello. Test, test, 1, 2, I 1, 2. I believe we are good.
We are alive.
Hi. That's a good one. That's a
Hello?
good
You sound maybe a little low, but
Me?
I don't know. Maybe
Check.
slightly. Hard
Check,
to say.
check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. I can put myself up a little bit. Like that, maybe. Do. Check, check. 1, 2.
Maybe slightly higher. Or I'll just talk lower. We need Damien to help us.
Is your volume just low for the stream, maybe? Dun dun dun.
No, I maxed you out.
Oh, okay.
It's less about you being too low and more about we're just not even.
Yeah,
in,
relative, right? Yeah, we need you relatively.
Yeah.
I can put you down a bit. Do. There, you lost a decibel. Stolen.
Oh no. I don't want to lose things.
Taken by the Canadians.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess we'll do an official clack clack start. Just so the video has a defined point. But yeah, hello and welcome to another week of Chrono Walkers. We're back from actually after 2 weeks.
From outer space.
From outer space.
Yeah. I had some really important things to take care of.
That
Like,
wasn't foreboding at all.
Yeah.
People to take care of.
Yeah, I had to go somewhere and see two people that couldn't die stab each other repeatedly over and over again in a large setting.
Do you do HEMA? Is it HEMA? I think that's what it's called. That's
That's
like
Wolverine.
Oh, I was wondering if you were like that was a reference towards what's it called? Like so HEMA is like full armor, long sword, I believe, or it could be other weapons as well, like fighting, like so like fencing, but like full on medieval. It's pretty impressive actually, because like you see like long swords in movies are just doing like bah, right? Like that's all you really see people do with them, just various swings, and then you watch actual sword fighters with it, and it's thoroughly impressive. But anyway, oh yeah, here is my Drax mug for Eric to see. Because I was talking about it, but he didn't know what it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
He looks pretty angry. It's right because he removed his brain and started drinking out of his skull.
Yeah, or maybe it's a grimace of happiness with his knives there, just ready to go. But anyway, yeah. So we are today going to be looking at Caleb. So what is a Caleb? That's a good question. Let's switch to a different view. So Caleb is one of the new champions from Metamorphosis. I guess we'll start on the left. So we've got Caleb, Skull of Jalara, 22 Aura, Axon and Phage. Affiliations. Axon, one of the strongest in the game. Cough, cough. One of cough. And Phage, I honestly like swiftly becoming a really fun. Just like the directions it's going. It's really fun. Like style of like it shares some of the decay with chaos. It shares some of the like range punchiness of I think Bellum in terms of like strong techniques. So it's like a very well-rounded, I'd say, affiliation. That's our blue-green being Phage. And then we got 135 aura, a forward awareness, and then Swift Exert, basic attack 1, so just pretty normal 1 damage that we're used to. And then Action Exert, breakthrough, you draw a card. So, I mean, everyone's first turn with Caleb is probably going to be moving to the side and drawing a card, which, I mean, what's not to like about that? Though I guess you'll want to maybe play out some summons, who knows, since you're taking an action turn. Remember, don't don't start without drawing a card because once you're exerted, you're forced to go to the end of turn. But anyway, I trigger lose control. Except for the first round, when you draw your first card each round, reveal it. If it is 6 chi or more, transform Caleb Skull of Jalara. Dun dun dun. And that pops us over to Reedvorn. Champion Demon now. And we've got forward awareness, and 2 energy from 0. But we don't have an attack here. We've got a cast and a Neurum. So let's look at that cast first. When a card goes to the opponent's memories, except from a timeline or by resolving, so that's going to be basically by things being countered or discarded, is the primary ways that that's going to happen. You may play it by discarding 2 cards. Or killed, sorry. Yeah, that's great. Good point, yeah. Summons being killed will also send them to the memories without being from the timeline or resolving. You may... so yeah, when it does that, you may play it by discarding 2 cards instead of paying its cost. If you play it this way, transform Reedvorn Soul's Desire. And then we have... I guess our attack is not officially attack, but it's called Neurum. Swift Exert. Target combatant in Reedvorn's awareness discards a card and loses 1 health. What happens if you target a summon? Well, it can't discard a card, so that part won't happen, but it does have health, so it will lose life. But Reedvorn, admittedly, cannot damage alterations. Rocks, as it turns out, are not combatants, so Reedvorn unable to do anything. Yeah, buildings cannot. You cannot invade the mind of a building and make it go, oh my god. Cool.
What if a building is made out of plants or something like that?
Apparently, being a building is enough camouflage that Caleb will be like, that's fine. So if you had a building that turned into like a building made of plants that turned into a plant monster, I guess.
But isn't he a vegan? Wouldn't he just want to eat it instead?
I mean, Reedvorn is like eats like books, right? I guess, or knowledge. So I don't even know. I mean, that's technically vegan, or is it? No, because vegan, you need to, like, the suffering of an animal as part of the process discounts the food, right? So, like, presumably a human being, as Reedvorn's eating their memory, would suffer, presumably. Caleb doesn't look too happy.
Ignorance is bliss.
But
right?
What about
ignorance
the process of going from knowledge to knowledge? Like, maybe you result in bliss, but if along the way you, if it hurts, I mean, that's suffering. So maybe not vegan, but definitely,
yeah, anyway.
If I had a good book pun, that's where that would go. Definitely book good. Anyway,
So I mean, I think Caleb is probably one of the coolest champions coming out in the new set.
Yes.
Very interesting deck building requirements, interesting play style. You get to draw cards, which is obviously the best thing you can do in any card game.
Yeah.
And like it's a fair and balanced, unironically, way to draw cards because you have to spend an action to do so. So you can only move once. You end your turn. It's not, you don't get it for free. So that's kind of nice. So I definitely think also the trigger on the other side where you steal their card, like stealing people's cards, is going to cause a lot of frustration and anger from the opponents because people hate it when you take their cards from them. But at the same time, it's relatively it's one of those things where it's just like it's not a free thing to do, but it feels like it when you're the opponent. When you're the person paying the cost, it's actually it can be kind of a struggle. Like if you kill an angel, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take that. I don't care what I do. But like a lot of the time, you're not gonna be able to do that because you do have to then give up Reedvorn, right? You have to transform back into Caleb, and it's not guaranteed that you will turn back into Reedvorn. So that's like another thing. That's something to think about, right? It's you will probably only be able to do that trigger, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a game, because like you have to do it, then you switch back, and then you have to switch back again to do it again. So I would say like like maybe 2 to 4 times in a game.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. It's not just like something that happens all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about, and they'll be part of the fun in deck building is like trying to maximize on that, because full on maximizing it would just be playing as many 6Gs as you can, and then trying to counterbalance with as many 3Gs so that your deck could be more 6G than it is, or more cards which are 6G or more than there are cards which are less. Because if you're all 6 and 3s, then you have like each 3 supports 2 6s. So you'll have more 6s. But yeah, I guess enough about that. Let's switch over to Tabletop Simulator. Oh yeah, there's Caleb and Reedvorn, but we'll put them away for now. And then with that, time to dive on in, I guess, and start grabbing cards. So this is the Chrono Walker's patented deck building process. Which is going to look like a whole bunch of just throwing cards on the table. But that's how we do. Where do you want to start?
Are you blue or green? I guess I'm blue for now because my color is blue.
Alright, cool. So I'm going to dive into Phage. And yeah, so just starting by just kind of going through and grabbing anything that has like a 40% chance of making the deck. Like 50% chance, 40% chance. That's
I'd go even lower. I'd say 20%, 30%.
Because you want to kind of have the options open for what like our what our options are, I guess.
Oh yeah, also we want to do only invasions, right? And origins.
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, let's limit it to invasions and origins cards.
Okay, so let me take these cards back.
So I guess I will be talking about cards as I grab them, because you guys are watching what I do to provide good entertainment, and then we'll do Eric's cards later. So recomposition. Talk about a 3G, right? Like, if you want to set up. This is like this fits perfectly into Reedvorn's concept of trying to set up the deck, because it's a 3Chi, so it's going to help us play more of those 6Chis, and then it's just 1 health and lets you set up the top of your deck. So, like, I mean, everything you kind of want there if you want to be on that turbo transform plan. We got Pummel here, basic attack 3 for 3 energy, but only 4 things. And it's got a stun synergy, not really what we want. Precise Thrust is an 8-chi. It's really cool, but probably not. Coronavirus we'll throw out, because that's just a solid 6-chi. So, nothing to be sad about there. Just a solid card. Move together. I don't think we're on the. I mean, it's a 5-chi as well, so it's not exactly what we want in terms of plans here, right? Another Swift basic attack 3, but if we're playing a 5-chi and trying to get Swift 3 damage out of it, it's going to be called shot. Unless we have a really good reason to. I guess Electric Strike is a 3-chi. I don't think we'll play it, but I mean, it is a 3-chi. That's solid if you want some damage in there. Good awareness. Trying to think here about our synergies. We're likely not going to be playing any 8s, so I don't know if I want to pull out a Caustic Millipede, but it's solid. I mean, we're going to be seeing more cards as well, so we can. I guess we can focus on having more things that give us really efficient like mana efficiency, or rather aura efficiency. Usually you don't see enough cards, but I guess if you're not flipping, you're drawing cards every turn, hopefully. So that means that we can play more cards at a cheaper cost. So like something like Mitosis probably wouldn't put it in Reedvorn. because it's 12 aura for 3 chi. So I'm gonna not grab that guy here, even though it is a very solid card.
Yeah, and also we can't use Chrono Walker because that's not in the last 2 sets.
Oh no, we've removed ourselves from the game. Malediction Strike. Malediction Strike is a really cool card, I think. Just like something that can become a basic attack 3. It's like a good safety valve, right, for powerful skills in the game. Evasive, like, I think that's a solid. It's a good 3 chi, or sorry, not 3 chi. It's a good solid 6 chi that's giving in some not reactive but proactive movement, and then potentially some reactive movement, but of course it's on board so people can see it. But I think that's a good for limiting us to 3s and 6s. I think that's a solid one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should necessarily limit yourself to 3s and 6s. But that's only if you want to like optimize the flipping potential, but I don't think you want to necessarily screw your deck over that badly.
Yeah. Wondering about delaying for a longer game and how that all works out. Because like over a longer game, you draw more cards, you have more chance to steal things. Seems interesting conceptually.
Yeah, I definitely think his base skills lend to longer games because you have basically a third resource that other people don't have access to, which is just hand size. So you're right. There could be a style of deck where you put a lot of defensive cards and removal in, and then you play the long game, and you steal either the summons or you counter the spells or whatnot, and then eventually you just kind of overtake them with your breakthroughs, and then the card stealing.
Yeah. Definitely agree. So there's an interesting talk we should probably start off by saying, which is, where are we landing on, because we do want a degree of card advantage, so that we have the raw resources to discard. Where are we landing on Epiphany?
It's not in the set. We can't use it.
Oh shoot! Oh, okay. So the decision's made for us. All right, good point. I forgot about that when we were. Oh my god! What a world! All right.
What a world! It's like we can build decks again.
Yeah.
I already got the
callers?
Call shot.
Oh, you got call shot out. Is there anything else here to look at?
Maybe illusory displacement. I don't know. Or sidestep. No, we can't do sidestep, so it would be illusory displacement.
Is displacement? Do you mean misplacement, or is there another one called illusory?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, cool.
Illusory. That one, yeah. Yeah. It's not misplacement. You're not like misplacing yourself. You're putting yourself exactly where you want to be. That naming doesn't make any sense.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I'll agree with you for that one. Lasting advice. So interesting one. Fun. Distracting shot. That does not fit with with this deck. Reveal a technique with 5 chi or less. Wait, what? Okay. So I think we're probably in a happy spot then here. Are there any other card advantage things that we can be doing here? I mean, I guess our summon, or rather our champion is.
I feel like that's enough.
Yeah. So so the first fight that we'd have is between these two cards, which is Tsunami
Oh,
and
I see what you're
Electrical.
doing.
Yeah, Tsunami and Electrical
Yeah.
Storm. So Tsunami being the premier 3 damage for 5 chi to the Tsunami awareness, the 2x3, and then Electrical Storm being the same thing but 6 damage if it's aerial for 2 less aura but 1 more chi. And I think this is an example of where Caleb is gonna force our deck building. I think I just want to play Electrical Storms, right? Like um, they've got an upside of it's a Tsunami that flips our of our summoner, right? Even though we are
That
losing out on
costs
chi,
less
yeah, at the cost of
aura.
chi, also costs less aura, but I
But
think
yeah,
we
you might be
just,
right about that.
I think we just eat it, right? Because any Tsunami, like we should probably just try and make it an Electrical Storm to help the flip happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, so incredibly, Tsunami being cut and Electrical Storm being played over it. You were here,
Wow.
folks, when it happened. So what else are we going on here? So, what are you?
Yeah. So
I
I
guess,
mean, looking,
yeah. Why don't you
yeah,
talk through your picks here, Eric, and I'll mouse over and make them big.
sure, early in the blues. I mean, we can start at the 3 cheese, right? All 3 cheese are kind of like discard enablers or discard style cards, right? Ruin Sculpture forces the opponent to discard or forces anyone to discard it if they do something. Mental Dagger is if you discard it, you can play it. So because we're kind of doing a discard themed thing, it might help. We'll see if it fits. Loss again, more discard. Um,
At random.
yeah, no, loss is definitely pretty interesting. Then we have Dedicated Studies, obviously, very good card. You need this in every deck that's plain blue.
Yeah. Also, kind of importantly, it lets you hide your hand a bit. Because I mean, the cards you draw off Reed Vorn's breakthrough ability, you don't have to reveal. But the first card, except for round 1, the first card you're drawing every turn, you're showing to people because it is a forced transform, right? For Caleb. So Dedicated Studies actually lets you get some hands which no one gets to see into your hand and filter, of course. But yeah.
Then Chain Carver, again, Rune Sculpture is pretty strong. Chain Carver helps you do that. We'll see if we want Rune Sculpture or Chain Carver, which one's better to have in the deck, if we want to play the Chi or the Aura or whatnot. All right, then we have Called Shot, obviously just, too good. Put it in every deck. Spilled Knowledge, right? Because we are having a little bit of discard, but this is just if the enemy discards, which we can do in our Neurum, right? So that's pretty strong if you can trigger this without playing a card. But how good can it be? How reliable is it? Do you actually want the Aura or whatnot? Warp Strike is just a strong card, especially when you get the when you flip over because you have the 2 energy reduction, which just helps pay for this. Pretty good. Then we go to War 6 cheese, Somnium. It could be just a free, summon. It's pretty unlikely to make it in the deck because you actually want to get a big hand.
Yeah.
Especially with your breakthroughs. So it's like how reliable can you attack the opponent's hand? Maybe this doesn't make it, especially if you cut some of these other discard cards. Pretty Bird. Again, this is more of the emotional damage.
I was gonna say.
Right, you're already just making them hurt every time you steal their cards, and this is just more steal. So it could be funny as like a 1 of, 2 of, just to play out. It's a 6G too, helps you flip over, but it also, if you can make them, rage quit. You steal their angel, and then you hit them with a Pretty Bird, and then it flips over. I don't know, maybe they have an answer to their own angel, and then you're like, all right, well now you can't kill your own angel that I stole from you, and they're like, screw this game. That's what you want. You want your opponent to be mad, right? Like that's what we play games for.
Yes,
Um,
sum is in fact zero sum. So the less fun your
yeah.
opponent is having, the more fun you are having, whether you
Hmm.
are or not. Like you are just definitively.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a happiness redistribution. Anyway, so then we have leg sweep. So leg sweep's kind of interesting. It's a 6G, and it's just 6G 4 damage, right? Like it can do the slow. That's not really that important, but just basically a pretty cheap or pretty reasonably costed 4 damage technique at 6G. Um, Nothing too crazy here. Who knows if it makes a cut or not? Maybe it makes a cut over a called shot just because it'll help us flip. We'll see.
Yep.
But you know, sometimes you can just win by just drawing because you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. You draw, 3 or 4 leg sweeps in a game. That's a lot of damage.
Yep.
Excruciation, kind of similar in that is just 6G for 4 damage. But it costs aura instead of energy. I don't know. It's like one of those things where, depending on our energy or aura spenders, which one we want to go with. Excruciation is a little hard sell just because it's got an awkward awareness. But it does have that, kind of a little bit at the bottom where you might be able to look at your timeline. Right. Wait, let's see. Thoughts. Yeah. That can help you flip as well.
Yep.
So that's another thing to keep in mind. And then finally at the top end here we have Angel of Bliss. Again, we're doing discard. Angel of Bliss is just so strong if you can consistently trigger its ability. And when you flip as Reborn, you can actually trigger it at swift speed. So you can actually go choose Angel of Bliss, attack in response, attack with Reborn, make him discard a card, hit them for 6.
Mm.
Which is like one of the things. Like it's obviously a strong card in other ones, but a lot of the other decks you'd have to like do it at. You had to have something else go first, right? Like you had to go first yourself and then dedicate studies or whatever it is. And this can allow you to kind of trigger that on your turn. So, and then I guess we also have this illusory misplacement, which we kind of talked about earlier. But because we're kind of limiting ourselves to just invasions and origins, we don't. You always want some sort of like defensive tool. Move this into the 5G slot, and if someone's paying attention, you notice you have 3, 4, 5, 6 bunch of 6s, as because we're trying to get to 6s, 2 columns of 6s, and then 1 7. It's just so illusory misplacement, just some more movement tech. Depend if we want that. That might be a sideboard card where you have like Warp Strike in the main deck, and then you'd have illusory misplacement in the sideboard. Reason being is if you're going against like a Bolt Walker Nubia, you can't really use Warp Strike, so something like that. But again, like we take out a bunch of cards that we think might go into the deck, and then we're gonna filter it down, and then we would theoretically build a 4 thoughts too. I don't know if we'll get to that today, but that's what would then happen after that.
Yeah.
And then you play 100,000 games and test them.
Cool. So, I mean, to go from here, I guess the first thing to think about, because it's is kind of define the direction, is like how deep you want to be on the Angel Bliss pan. I think it's like fairly deep, like maybe 3 or 4 copies.
I would say at least 4, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because we want to get that benefit. Like the 7 is like not ideal for maximizing that flip, but like what we're getting out of it, just like a powerful 6/6 body. I think is definitely worth it.
Yeah, like I was saying before, I don't think it's good to min-max flipping as like to that extreme. Yeah. Just because you also need to build a solid deck, and the Angel is just a really good way of killing your opponent. So
yeah, and we're gonna have cards like Recomposition, which will allow us to set up that flip as well. So
yeah, and also we're only gonna lose like 1 or 2 percentage points on flipping. So like it's actually whatever you lose in flipping, you're going to gain more win rate by like having good cards at the top end.
Yeah.
But don't put HEs in your deck. So.
Yeah, let's try avoid those HEs. I think there is an interesting discussion with Epiphany, because even though it doesn't let you flip as much, it does get you raw cards.
Mm-hmm.
But like 8 Epiphany, or it's not 8, sorry, 4 Epiphany, which is an HE, feels like a lot of equity loss. So like
Yeah.
probably one
I
or
would
two
argue,
copies, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, because of the breakthrough, you only need probably 2
Yeah.
if you're to run Epiphany. Um, and like you could also just discard it at some point too if you don't need to play the Epiphany.
Mm-hmm.
But
Um.
um, but anyway, so yeah, first we're just gonna start out with the 4 angels.
Yeah.
We'll see if you can bump that to 5. But
Yeah. So with angels, like since we are going into the angels, I kind of pulled out Fontanelle, even though it's a 4-chi, because it's just like it's a solid, such a solid summon, right? Like 2 damage anywhere you want on 60% of the board, pretty much, is what it's what's it called, area of impact is, its range, so to speak. But
so
since we're doing the angel thing, I think we move away from it and more chained carvers. Because I'm not the biggest fan of playing ruined sculpture as is. Chained carver lets you not only like have a threat that's also doing it and then forcing them to interact with that ruined sculpture. It also lets you get the ruined sculpture even, well, sorry, like I mean, relatively, like it forces it. Yeah, I guess no, it is just forced interaction, because I guess ruined sculpture you could just play it, but you've got something that is going to be a body and then also force interaction in the space around it. So yeah.
mm-hmm.
So yes, I think we cut Fontanelle at this point. Obviously don't want to load up too many on the four cheese. But let's see. Well, how many dedicateds do you think? Because they do set up your angels.
They do, but I would be hesitant because like if I have epiphanies, I would put like 5 or 6 dedicated studies. But because you still need pretty big hand size, especially if you're just getting cards, you actually don't want to go too deep in card disadvantage. So
Yeah.
I would say max 4, and I could even see 3.
Yeah, okay, let's start with a 3, and then we can
I do agree with you to not use the Fontanelle in this deck. I think you're right.
Yeah, just because the direction we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Chain Carver, maybe cap that at 4, because at least it does impact the board.
Yeah.
And then try and limit it there. I don't think we need a Somnium.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, is a 6G just to attack 4 health, which is like the stats you're getting even with the range aren't quite there. So maybe cut that guy.
Yeah, I think so. Although I would like to see a Somnium deck.
Yeah. Then Excruciation is really interesting. I wonder if Excruciation is a sideboard card though.
I think it probably is, yeah.
Because it's kind of like that kind of left and right awareness. Kind of need a reason for it, right? So if like you're being swarmed by summons or something, you know, like that kind of and you need an answer. Like Excruciation seems to fit really, really well when you need it, I think.
Yeah, right. I agree. It does seem like a sideboard card against a summer style deck, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're hitting everything in that awareness through. So if they hit you from the side, you can kill multiple enemies with it. And it's also probably not played that often, right? So you could really get people by surprise.
Yeah.
And I do think Leg Sweep is definitely more of a straightforward card, and I think in some blue decks it should just be like in there quite a bit because it's just kind of solid.
Yeah, agreed. Do you want to go in on the Pretty Birds, or?
I think Pretty Bird is like a 1, maybe 2 of, you know.
Okay.
And I know I the only reason I want to add the second one in there is because I, you know, ranted about putting 1-ofs in your deck. So so I want to put 2 to not make me a hypocrite, you know.
Cool. And then so I guess since our Tsunami slot is Electrical Storm, I think that's a pretty easy one to go to. What do you think? 4 copies?
Yeah, I would say at least 4. You know.
Just something you want to see every game, but not necessarily in our like multiple copies.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
And
I
here's
don't think I'll
where
ever be bad about it. But yeah.
this is where you'd put your chrono locker if you weren't restricting yourself. You
From
would you would fill up with chrono lockers.
I guess in the bottom here of these, I think I like Picornavirus the best.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's so hard to say.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. I'm trying to
Um,
think of the
no.
texture of our games here, right? So like we're gonna have some incidental discard, and then we're going to. I mean, we do want to probably be getting kind of close to the opponent, because like if we're well, I guess that's not even really true. I mean, the main thing is Reedborn likes to steal summons, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Because, like, a summon, you can always just play it out, and, like, one way or another, it has to be dealt with by spending some sort of resource. Even if it's just, like, you know, like, it's just even if you steal one enemy summon and it just gets there and it gets shot immediately, like, they still had to move something to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, Procare. I do think Winged Elite doesn't really fit here. So
Yeah,
I'd take that one out.
he needs a bunch of turns to get there, and then 1/1s aren't the strongest. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vidu doesn't
like
make
the
sense.
1/1s could be good if you're kind of like building a swarm style deck that wants those summons, but we don't really need that. Um, Coronavirus versus the Prokaryote accounts. It really depends on what you're trying to do. I think Prokaryote accounts is probably better if you're trying to just kill your opponent, right?
Yeah,
So it depends on how aggressive you're trying to be.
yeah,
It could be. I think it Prokaryote Hounds might be actually pretty decent as a sideboard card against something like an Idris, where you're trying to kill them before they kill you.
right. Yeah, you've got a clock on you.
So, while the Coronavirus is probably better in like your general style of game plan that you want.
Yeah. Also, I think Picornavirus is also going to force some questions with Chain Carver and the Rune Sculptures, because it forces them to react in in the depths of the psychic damage that Rune Sculpture is dealing around it. Force them to do things to spend resources while they're there, or just take 3 damage. Also, Electrical Brand with the Electrical Storm is nice. Too bad we don't have too much, but hey, that could come up.
Yeah, you might get an extra damage.
Yeah. So yeah, let's like go Coronavirus. I don't know, like let me start with 4 copies there. Maybe 5. Start with 5. Okay, we need to add a lot more cards. So so now we get into...
Evasive. Do we need evasive? Wait, because we still have the leg sweep and evasive.
Oh yeah,
do
so
we need
how many copies of So evasive was like to have some sort of reactionary movement.
Yeah.
It is tricky though. So it's 12 ore up front and then 5 energy to move later.
You know what? I could definitely see this being not terrible here. Like actually decent, because like you want to, as Caleb, you want to be able to break through every turn. So you're only going to be moving once, so this kind of helps you like stay away from your opponent when you're as Caleb. And then for Reborn, it's just like an extra way to, because at the end of your turn, you can actually go to your end of turn. Can you then move and then Nurum with Reborn?
If you're going... I guess if you're forcibly going to your end of turn, yes. I believe so.
So you can double move, you go to end of turn, this triggers, you move again. Could you then attack after that, or would your turn just end?
I'm trying to double check. Where is the... let me just do a quick... I don't have it I don't think I have it accessible. This turn order. We'll put a pin in that. I'll have to double check.
Okay. Anyway, if that's the case, then yeah,
that might be an extra
because
benefit.
that could be an extra benefit. You know, it could be a pretty big swing if you like triple move, discard them a card, steal it, something like that.
Yeah.
I think I talked myself into adding like 2 copies, right?
Yeah.
In here, 2 copies.
Oh, 2 copies. Gotcha. I thought you meant like adding 2 more. And
Yeah,
then
no, I get
that. That's just a solid damage, right? So.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at least 4.
Yeah. So let's see. We're 186 with 36 cards. So.
All right, we need
good.
14 more cards with what is it? 64 aura.
So that's
14
just around
times 5 is 70. So it's like 4. It's like 4.5 roughly.
Yeah. Let's see. Spilled knowledge. I think we don't need to worry about.
Yeah, I agree. We can take that out.
Yeah, we've got some discard situation, but we're not all in on it. It's kind of because we have some abilities to do it, but yeah, I don't think we need to be that all in.
Illusory misplacement. I do think this is a sideboard card.
Yes, like potentially.
So I'm putting my sideboard cards down at the bottom here.
Cool.
I do think we want some warp strikes. Do we want called shots? I feel like we probably have to put some. I get like 3 called shots at least.
Yeah, we may have to.
It's like one of those things. Just kind of do it.
Yeah. I think I might hold out on the warp strikes, just cause just to see what the deck looks like if we like called shot. Is just the power level's too high to kind of ignore it. But warp strike, we might be able to make something without it. But we can see if we have some chi left over and then bring it in. Like it's a very good card.
I think you're right.
But let's try and do the thing here.
Yep. All right. So we have Exchange Carver, so I think we get rid of Ruined Sculpture.
Yep.
Do we want Lost, Mental Dagger? I think we get rid of Mental Dagger, to be honest.
Yes, I think so, because like while it's free, if you get the thing, you still have to be in a position to use it, which is just like forward awareness. So that's the part I don't like. I think I'm okay with a couple copies of Lost. It's a horrible top deck, but it's a nice disruptive free play. Though admittedly, you're not going to be doing that and your breakthrough. Is something to think about.
Well, you could if it's a top deck, you can actually play this and then break through afterwards.
True. Yeah, because you can do it without paying the cost. That's true.
All right, electric strikes. Do we want any electric strikes?
I think a couple are always good, but I think recomp is going to be our main 3.
Yeah, I think let's hold on that and let's do recomp first. So loss, we can put 3 losses. I think.
And I think 5 recomp to start.
Yeah, I think so. At least, yeah. So recomp is really good. It really helps you flip. It's also one of those things like with recomp, a couple recomps, and you don't have to min-max the ratios because it helps you do them. Yeah. But also to keep in mind when you're doing this, make sure that you recomp and you put the card that's not going to make you flip on top, so that when you break through, you don't draw it.
Yeah. And then of course there's always be aware of sometimes you'll recomp and you either have to keep in mind that you don't want to play any energy spenders, or maybe you just have to bite the bullet and do it anyway, and it's just like it is what it is. So there is that. So I think a couple copies of Electrical Strike. We'll go to 3. I think we can put another copy of Recomp 2. Let's get to 6.
Yeah, I kind of want to put a 5th Angel in here.
Yeah, looks like we can support. Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got 41 and 7. That's about 6.
Yeah.
Which means we can put another copy of Angel.
Yeah, and get more 6s in here as well. So like another coronavirus. Another evasive, I think. I like having the third copy there. 3 more cards, 15 more aura.
15. So then we can put the warp strikes back in.
We could put 3 warp strikes back in. How many objects do we have that are? Is there an easy way to tell? I'll just count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So 50% natural chance of flipping, but then the recomps are gonna, let us do some setup as well.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think.
Yeah, I do think we probably want to get that closer to 60 if we can do that.
60%. So what's 60% of 50 cards? 30. So that's 5 more cards.
Correct.
So that's 5. That'd be 5 more cards, which is a pretty big ask. I mean, we'd have to basically shave like some like 5s and get like another, or like what is it, like 3 5s and then a 3 and 2 6s? What does that do? Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. 3 5s is 15. 2 6s is 12 plus a 3 is 15. Yeah. So if we shave another 5, we can put in 1 3. Maybe it is warp strike over the call shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two warp strikes, 1 call shot. And then 1 more. Let's just do recomp. And then, what do you want to be as another 6? Electrical Storm, Pretty Bird, Picorna. I think another Picorna, right? Just have a threat that people relatively can't ignore.
Yeah, I think so. Just a solid threat. I think we do 1 more Picorna virus. Do we want another leg sweep? Maybe another evasive? No. Oh, you already put 1 there. Okay. I think we can go up to 5th leg sweep then.
Okay.
Right.
So that's.
Is that where we're at? We're at 10,
10
16, 20, 27.
Yeah, 27, and then we've got all these recomps to set up.
Yeah. And then with the recomps, yeah, so we have 6 recomps. Recomps count, which is 33. So yeah, I think we're good there.
Okay.
So I think this is actually a pretty good starting setup.
Yeah, I like it.
I will say. Oh yeah, I was gonna say like, we have lack of movement, but yeah, this is if you're doing it with Invasion's Origin. But if you're not limiting yourself, then you would just replace all those coronaviruses with Chrono Walkers. And
I suppose
that is an issue with this deck. It doesn't have like enough movement, so you can be a little bit unsafe.
Yeah.
So just hit them with a Pretty Bird, then steal their movement.
Also true. Or steal
yeah.
their movement with a Reedborn, though. You have to do it right when when it happens.
Yeah, I would actually say so if you weren't limiting yourself, take out all the coronaviruses, all the elusives, and replace those all with Chrono Walkers. Maybe add a 6th leg sweep or a 5th Electrical Storm, but then you would have like 9 Chrono Walkers or something like that.
And then I guess other things to note is like in our sideboard we could probably have some pressure points and cast downs, which also let us like steal cards, because negating something means it's going to the memories from the stack, which is not.
Yeah. So those are from Invasions or Origins, I believe. Yeah. But yes, if you're exactly.
Yeah. Wait. Cast down was reprinted. Wait, wasn't one of them reprinted, or maybe not?
Yeah, I think in J2.
J2. Okay. Yeah. So I guess that's older stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think you'd want some of those in the sideboard if you're taking it out. But our main board is Origins and Invasions. So how about that?
Yep. So going through this, I guess one last time, just as we see the full picture for the top end, right? Let's start from the top, right? Because this is kind of what we're building around. So Caleb/Reedvorn has a draw/discard theme. And Angel of Bliss kind of benefits from discarding cards. Whoever, it doesn't really matter. And it's just a really powerful finisher. So we want to kill our opponent, so we're going to put cards that kill our opponent, and this is just one of the most efficient ways to do it, right? 20 aura for like a 6/6 kind of 6/6 flying is just solid. Then going down to 6 cheese, a little bit of AoE. I think it's always important to have a little bit of AoE. Electrical Storm
Yeah, might
is just
even
solid,
have
and
more copies in the sideboard, honestly.
yeah, definitely. Then we have Coronavirus, which is just like a decent threat. It buffs our Electrical Strike and Electrical Storms, and each other. But it's just something that can kind of like poke away from far away. These could be Chrono Walkers, but again, we're limiting ourselves. But I think this is still fine. These are pretty decent.
Yeah, it's a very decent threat.
Yeah, Pretty Bird for the emotional damage. Just trying to make your opponent rage quit. Elusive is like just kind of because we don't have that many ways of moving. This is just a 6 chi way to flip and to move, a little bit of defensive tools, and then Leg Sweep is just a pretty effective way of dealing damage. And sometimes you just need to deal that last bit of damage and kill your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, 4 damage is 6 chi. Like, it's not got the crazy awareness or the area of bolt shot, but 4 damage is 6 chi. I'm not gonna be unhappy about that. It's a solid amount of damage.
Yep, they have it's on rate, but a little bit is slowed, so that means you can hit them with Leg Sweep, and then they can't really get away as well, which can be relevant. Then the 5 cheese, we don't really have too many of these, because again, we're trying to leverage our flipping, so we have a lot of 6 cheese and then lower cheese. But College Shot and Warp Strike are just really strong cards, so it's kind of fine to have them, I think. Or more likely, more accurately, these are so strong that it's like hard to not play them.
Yeah, and I think this is the column that will change the fastest during testing, as you figure out what this recomp plus this ratio allows you to pull off in terms of consistent flipping. Then probably some of these start disappearing, and we get a couple more, because we want to fit probably as many of these as we can within reason. So it's just, they're just above the power curve, so let's just get them in the deck and then move from there.
Yeah. So then we go to 4 cheese. We have the Dedicated Studies, so a little bit of card filtering, always solid to have, especially when we have more breakthroughs, to help with the card disadvantages that Dedicated Studies provides.
And sets up Angel of Bliss. If it's
that's true. Sets up Angel of Bliss. Chain Carver. It's a little bit of ways to just affect the board, get the ruined sculptures down there, help attack opponent's hands, stuff like that.
Slow the game down a bit.
And when they discard cards, you can always steal them, so which is kind of interesting. Obviously, they're going to try to discard their bad cards, but if you have enough of these, you could, hopefully get them multiple times until you get something good. Going to 3 cheese, we have Loss. Loss is just a solid card. The fact that it does random discard can make this pretty effective. Only a couple, because they don't really do that much, and they do cost you a breakthrough, so that's something to think about. You don't really want to give up a breakthrough to play this, but you could theoretically play this for free at some point. If you do, then it's nice with the breakthrough, or you could play it with Reedborn, because you could go this and then maybe steal a card from them if you're too far away to hit them with your norm. And then we have...
Oh, and I'll just mention on Lost, because there's just a rules interaction there that people may not be aware of, which is the way the modifier is worded. While any champion has 1 or fewer cards in their thoughts, Lost can be played without paying its cost. If Lost is one of your 2 last cards, you can play it for free, because the first step of casting or rather playing an ability is putting the card on the stack, then costs are determined. So you have 2 cards, 1 is Lost, you put Lost on the stack, then you determine what the cost of Loss is. You have 1 card in hand, so it's free. And then you pay the cost, which is you determine if the cost is free. I will now pay the free cost. So.
And it also makes sense if you think about it, because if that wasn't the case, then the wording wouldn't make sense, because you'd always have 0 cards in your hand.
Yeah.
So then we go to our next one,
Recon.
recomposition. This just helps you flip. Very powerful flipping card. You do have you don't have that much life on Caleb. Like 22 isn't the best. So this is a card which I could see going down a couple copies.
Yeah.
Trying to get that right balance of flipping as you were mentioning earlier. But for now we want to see how much we can play it where we're comfortable with paying the life and flipping.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, don't put that 60 on top and then draw it. Remember that. And then we have some electric strikes, a little bit of removal, small synergy with the coronaviruses. It's good to have, just something. That's not too exciting, but gotta put something in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is I think a pretty solid first draft of the deck. It's got a good concept of what we want to do, and some powerful cards to enable that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably a good point to wrap up. So I'll say regarding the deck, hey, if you want to take it for a spin and then let us know how it went, we'd love to hear about it. Or if you've got your own Caleb version, if you went down a different path or the same path, where did you end up? We'd also love to know. I guess aside from that, I guess we will see everyone next week. It was a pleasure as always. Please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments. We live for the feedback. And yeah, I guess if you want to give the close, Eric.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the arena.
Peace.
Peace.